Welcome to my channel. This is the Indigo Jo channel, and I am an intuitive tarot reader. And today I'm going to be answering the question of what needs balance. So this is going to be like what aspect or what area of your life needs balance at this current time. I have 3 piles you can choose from. It goes from left to right. So malachite, lapis lazuli, and moldavite. And I'm going to show you a close-up of those 3 piles right now, so you can go ahead and choose intuitively. After you've picked your pile, go ahead and click on the timestamp that I put in the description for the reading. Hi, pile 1. This is for those of you who chose the malachite crystal card pile. Let's get started on your reading and see what in your life needs balance at the moment. Okay, so getting started, I did pull one of my archetype cards for you guys, and you guys got the Fool. And for this specific reading, I asked for the shadow attribute. So we're going to go ahead and read that for you guys. So your shadow attribute at the moment is using humor to wound rather than liberate, denial of your emotional truth. So let's see, let's get into the rest of the reading to make sense of that. But you guys picked malachite. So right off the bat, malachite is about marrying the 2 aspects of your brain. So basically, right and left brain, or you could just think about this as like your brain and your heart. So it's like combining your intellect with your emotional truth to find clarity and find the truth of a situation and make the right decisions. So maybe you guys are a little too heavily leaning on one particular side over the other. So maybe you guys are paying attention to your emotions a little bit too much, and neglecting your mind, or maybe you're overthinking and overworrying things and neglecting your emotions. But this is just a sign that you guys need to like combine the 2 and remember that you need to balance that out. I guess, you know, this whole question is what needs balance, and I think that's what needs balance. Like, you guys are either too into your emotions and aren't using practical reasoning, or you're too logical and you're not paying attention to your emotions. And I feel like it could be, you know, because we have the Fool as your shadow attribute, you guys are denying your emotions right now. You're denying your emotional truth, you're denying your passions, and you know, the next card we have is second chakra, Archangel Ariel. So with second chakra, that is the sacral chakra, and it's basically all about emotions. I think you guys might have an imbalance there, or a blockage there, where you're not acknowledging your emotions, and it's causing them to kind of like fester in your sacral chakra, and that could cause you know, a blockage in pleasure, because you know, the sacral chakra is all about pleasure, and it's all about feeling joy in the little things, feeling pleasure in all of the little things. So I think maybe if you guys have had trouble finding pleasure in the little things in life, it could be because of that, because you are altogether kind of shutting your emotions off. So, and then with the Ace of Fire, which is Ace of Wands, it's basically reiterating that, and both of these cards are orange, so it's very much all about the sacral chakra, about pleasure, about emotional truth, about emotional authenticity, about passion. You guys are like neglecting something that you feel very passionate about, and it may be because that thing in particular broke your heart. We have the 3 of water here, which is the 3 of swords. So you guys have probably gone through something really heavy emotionally, and it caused you to shut off your emotions completely instead of letting it out and getting all of that proper healing and letting all of the emotions go. You guys have kind of tucked them under the rug, and maybe it felt like at the time you let all the emotions go, like maybe you felt like you went through a really dark period and you wanted to just get out of it, and instead of, you know, completing that healing, I think you guys just kind of tucked it aside, and you still have a little bit of it left that needs to be healed. And I think this is just a reminder of that you guys aren't completely done with your healing. You guys have some sadness that you're kind of tucking away, or you're using humor to cover it up, or you're using gossip or anger or something, like you feel something inside that you just don't want to express, but it's not doing any favors. Like, it's not doing any good things for you to just hide that away, because it's actually keeping a blockage from your pleasure center, from your passion center, and it's keeping you from flying. It's keeping you from spreading your wings. We have spread your wings here. Do not hold back right now. The timing is perfect. You are ready to soar. So in order to soar, I think you need to confront all of these feelings and hardships that you've gone through, and realize that maybe you're not as happy as you're showing the world. And, you know, maybe do a journal entry about this, or talk to someone that you can really trust about it, or even do like a mirror exercise where you can talk to yourself about it, because I think there's just something that needs to be released inside of you, and that's going to cause you to feel a lot calmer about the situation. It's going to cause you to feel at peace. It's going to open your heart a little bit more, and it's going to allow you to move on finally, to spread your wings and fly. And then you can be, instead of being the shadow attribute of the fool, you'll become the light attribute, which is fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. So, you know, you have to just be fearless with your emotions, and that's, you know, going to come with time. That doesn't happen overnight, but that's going to come with you actually facing it within yourself, because I think right now you're denying that you even feel anything, and maybe it's causing you to be a little numb to your own emotions and numb to the world and other people's emotions as well. So just remember, you don't want to lose that empathy with others, and that happens when you first lose the empathy within yourself. So lastly, we have faith. I think with this card, I feel like maybe you guys are afraid of persecution in some way. Like, you're either afraid of rejection, or you're afraid of someone persecuting you for being yourself, for having your passions, for the things that you guys are interested in. Like, maybe there's someone telling you that it's wrong, or telling you that it's not ideal, or you should be doing something better, or you should be in a relationship with someone better, or there's something better out there. Like, maybe people are putting your passions and your interests down, and that's weighed heavily on your mind and your heart. But you really just have to have enough faith in yourself and enough love for yourself to be like, screw that, I'm doing it anyway, and I don't care what you think. And I think it comes down to that also. Like, maybe you guys just need to be okay with people disapproving of you and your interests. Be okay with people saying negative things, and, you know, it is going to hurt sometimes, but you have to like be okay with that. You have to put yourself above them and step up and just spread your wings and let go of whatever the hang-ups you're having about it are, because you're going to feel much better after you do that. You always have to put yourself first at the end of the day, because, you know, you are all that you have in this life. You know, you're born alone, you die alone. You have to love yourself enough to put yourself first and make those hard decisions. And, you know, with that, that's all I have for this particular reading. I hope it resonated. If it did, please subscribe, and I hope you watch some of my future videos. Thanks. Bye. Hi, Pile 2. This is for those of you who chose the Lapis Lazuli or Lazuli crystal card pile, and let's get started on your reading about what needs balance. Okay, so getting started here, I picked a shadow attribute. Well, this is the archetype deck, but I looked at a shadow attribute for each pile. So this one is the poet. So it says, turns a lyric gift into a negative or destructive effect. So that's something that is currently affecting you at this moment. When it comes to that, though, I feel like it's not to say you guys have literally been turning your poetry into something evil. I think it's more so the fact that maybe a gift that you have when it comes to language or communication has been used by someone for money or for their benefit instead of for yours. Instead of it being your gift and your talent, someone else has kind of used it for their gain, for their material gain. And looking at the rest of your spread here, so you guys picked lapis lazuli. So lapis lazuli is all about going within and reconnecting with your spirituality, reconnecting with your third eye, your sense of the divine, finding that spirituality within you and realigning to it. So it's all about having faith, having seeing the signs and symbols in front of you, seeing, connecting the dots with everything instead of feeling like you're isolated. This is all about knowing that you have all of the tools already within you and in front of you, and nothing is too far away. Nothing is too impossible for you to have it. So I think maybe you guys have been in a state of anxiety. We have the anxiety card here, where you guys have kind of disconnected from your faith, from your belief in yourself and your own intuition. And maybe you guys have gone into this cycle of worrying, this cycle of just disbelief, like this cycle of lack mentality, just feeling like everything is going downhill and what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Like, if I don't do this, what would happen? And it's more of like that negative mindset instead of thinking like, well, what if something great happens? What if everything is fine? And I think that's the mentality that you should be having, or not to say should be having, but that's the mentality that, this message is basically saying it would benefit you to look more, come more from a space of gratitude than of lack, and it will help you cancel out all of these negative thoughts that you're having that keep creeping up, because this anxiety here is actually what needs to be balanced and what's keeping you from success in your case. We also have a lot of red here, so I'm feeling like maybe you guys are worried about stability, finances, your home life, your foundation. But it seems like for some of you, I'm sensing there's a situation where a group of people, or this could be a company, like someone you work for, they kind of left you out in the cold, or they used you and kind of tossed you aside, or you felt like what you did, like all of the work that you put in, you weren't getting anything, you weren't getting the same amount back from them. And instead of leaving them behind when you, initially, I think maybe they left you behind, or they took something from you. And I think this is saying that you need to let this go. You need to let these people go, because they're just going to keep continuing this pattern and this cycle if you don't. And don't be afraid to walk away when you need to walk away. That's what I'm getting, because you're going to actually find your treasure on your own. You're actually going to discover something that's going to be way more beneficial for you financially and emotionally, without this group of people or without this person. And you guys need to, I guess, you need to discover the magician within yourself, because you actually have a lot already that you can use to create something. Like, you have the tools in front of you that you could use to maybe start some project that you've been wanting to start, or start your own business, or freelance, or do something like that. Whatever it is that you've been wanting, this is just a message that you guys have already acquired the tools you need. You really already have that. All you need is your own intuition, your own faith in yourself, and belief that you can do it to make it happen. So you just need to kind of channel this energy of the wise man, the magician, and know that you have the tools. Just own it, have your faith, own your faith, and know that you can do it, and then get started on it. And then with the world in reverse, I feel like this is just kind of reiterating that maybe you guys were viewing the world from the perspective where it was like you're just one piece of the puzzle and the world kind of controls you, or the world kind of owns you, and you know, you're just a small piece in this big world, and you kind of need to view it in the opposite way. At least right now, that's going to help you a lot, to just view it as like, no, I am the master of my fate. I am the main character of my own world, and I create what I want. I can create whatever I want. Like, there's nothing actually holding me back. That's just the anxiety telling me that there is. So as soon as you get in that sort of mindset, you can actually create whatever it is that you are wanting to create in your life. And that's just the message that's coming through, is like, you are powerful, but I think you're not seeing the power that you guys hold, because as the magician, you guys have the magician card coming out. This is a sign that you guys are powerful manifestors, and you actually have this clear vision of what you want in your life, and you can create it and you can make it happen, but you're letting the anxiety kind of take over a little bit. But we have the compassion card. Soften your heart with respect to this situation and all of the people involved, including yourself. So, you know, don't be so hard on yourself. Maybe that's what the anxiety, that's where it stems from. Like, you guys are probably like perfectionists, and you feel like you're not good enough right now to do something, or you don't know how to start your own business or start this project, and you just feel like you need to work for someone else right now. And that's fine. Like, if you feel like you need to work for someone else right now, that is fine. Like, take your time. And just be compassionate with yourself. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Not everyone knows everything right away. Like, it takes years of research, it takes time, it takes effort, and building up that confidence within yourself. But just know that you can get there, and you will get there. So have compassion for yourself as well. It says, overcoming difficulties. The worst is now behind you, and you're surmounting any previous challenges. So, you know, whatever the struggle was that you faced with maybe a workplace, or even like people in your life, just know the worst is behind you now. You're coming into a time now where you are going to be feeling more confident in yourself. You're going to be feeling more ready, and you're going to be feeling more connected with your own internal power. And this is the time now for you to actually plan. Like, you know what you want. It's just time for you to plan it, because you know now that you can do it, or you will soon. And then, you know, just become the light attribute of this. So, you know, with this card, I feel like you guys have this powerful talent of poetry. You know how to write, you know how to communicate lyrically, and, you know, artistically, you're good with communication. So that could be creative writing, poetry, that could be songwriting, anything of that sort. And it says here, the light attribute expresses soul insights in symbolic language. So I think you could help a lot of people with your poetry or with your words. And as long as you have control of it, as long as you don't give your power away to someone else, and actually express from your intuition what you're feeling, I think you guys are gifted in that way, where you can channel positive messages through poetry or through writing. And then we have help from above. So yeah, I feel like you guys have a lot of divine help from above that maybe you've kind of turned your back on a little bit, or just haven't been paying attention to as much lately. And this is just a reminder that you can always call on angels, spirit guides, whatever it is you guys believe in, to help you throughout any difficult situation, and you will have that help right away. So just keep that in mind. And that is all I have for you, Pile 2. If you liked it, please subscribe, or maybe you'll see me in a future video. Thanks, bye. Hi, Pile 3. This is for those of you who chose the Moldavite crystal card pile. Let's get into your reading on what needs balance at the moment. Okay, so for each pile, I picked one of these archetype cards, and I am going to purposely read the shadow attribute, as it pertains to this reading. So you guys got priest, and the shadow attribute is violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. So that tells me you guys are probably very connected to the spiritual realm, and you guys might already be like tarot readers, guidance counselors, life coaches yourself, or own some kind of business where you give advice in some sort of way. And and even by moldavite, I can kind of sense that, because moldavite is such a strong crystal. Like, this is no joke here. This is a crystal for people who are very strong souls, usually old souls. And this crystal in itself is kind of like the Tower card in tarot, as in it is destruction and transformation and rebirth all wrapped into one. So I can just tell by that alone, those of you who picked this pile are probably very, very spiritual, and you guys are old souls, and you kind of know what's up. You have a very strong intuition, and I think this is also symbolic of the fact that you guys are probably being initiated right now. This is like an initiation stone. Like, you guys are probably here for, like, you have a very strong purpose in this lifetime to be spiritual healers or leaders or guidance readers for people. You're here to help people and guide them in some way. And the fact that you guys have this card just shows me that you have been through a lot to get to this point, and you've probably been hurt a lot by this, and will have a lot of epic events and occurrences in your life. But it's to get you guys to open up your heart and to allow you to really be your true soul and your true self. And not a lot of people in their lives get to do that. Most people just kind of live their life by the status quo, by what's appropriate or what's, the societal norm. And I don't think that's the path for you guys in this lifetime. So this is telling me that you have to kind of allow these tower moments to happen, and you have to kind of be open to them happening and opening to the healing that's going to take place and has taken place. And you kind of have to be open to the aftermath of that too, which is usually not very fun at first, but it has a huge lesson to it, and huge blessings come after that happens. So it's almost like a warning sign. And I definitely would say, if you want to usher that in quickly, definitely have some moldavite in your presence, or you guys might already have some moldavite, and maybe that's why you picked this pile. But moldavite is going to help that happen even more quickly. So what I'm getting here is you guys have indecision. So I feel like you guys have been very indecisive recently, and it's like you see the two roads and the two paths in front of you that you can choose from. You can choose to go with the one that looks a little more flowery on the outside but is actually the darker path, or you can choose the one that your soul and your heart is calling you to choose, but at first glance it looks like the darker one. It's the scarier one because it's the path less traveled, it's the path unknown. You don't know what the outcome is going to be if you choose this path, but if you choose the other path, you know what the outcome is going to be, but you don't know if you're going to be happy, and you feel like you won't if you choose that pile. So, this is telling me, choose the one that your soul and your heart is calling you to choose, and even if it's the risky one, it's going to have the bigger reward, and you're going to feel so much better, and you're going to feel fulfilled, and you're going to feel like your true self when you choose that path. And that's only going to come after you have opened your heart a little bit more. We have King of Air, so that tells me that you guys are kind of in this state right now where you're a little bit closed off emotionally, and you are very communicative. You're very communicative, you're very indecisive. You have all of these decisions, you have all of these different paths you can choose from in front of you, but you will not commit to anything. You will not just pick one and go with it. You, I think, need to connect more into your heart space to be able to do that, because I do feel like you guys right now are still wearing this mask here, like this man is wearing. Like, even though he's very communicative, even though he, is still a king in his own right, he's wearing a mask to protect himself instead of allowing himself to be more vulnerable and acting from a emotional and heart space. I do feel like maybe some of you guys have a wounded masculine aspect, or you've had some issues with masculine energies. You might have had some issues with your father growing up. Maybe your father was cold to you, or he was too elusive, he was too singular, and he didn't really spend that much time with you or seem like he was deeply connected to you. And, this is just a sign that is something that is going to be healing in the next year or so, in the next couple of months. That's something that is a huge thing for you that needs balance at this time. So I would say that's throat chakra. So if you guys are working on chakras, definitely work on your throat chakra and your heart. Those are the two chakras I think that need the most work with you guys. Also, I see this huge feather here, and that's always a symbol to me that like archangels are working with you to help you with this. So I would call upon Archangel Raphael for healing, and then Archangel Michael is definitely going to be helping you and protecting you as well. And then we have the Chariot, and with this card I was picking up that maybe you guys have been kind of letting your shadow lead you recently, maybe because you're afraid of change, you're afraid of these big transformations, these big endings in your life, and you're choosing to just kind of overlook them altogether, and that's letting your shadow aspect kind of guide you and direct you instead of balancing it out and having your light aspect and your heart guide you as well. I do feel like there's a heavy energy of pride in this pile, and that's kind of reflected in the shadow attribute, where it says violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. So you guys, you have a very strong intuition, but I do feel like maybe you might hold that over people, or you might make it seem like you like everyone else is ignorant because they just don't know all of these things that you know, and they don't hold that same information. So I think that pride, and maybe you guys have an imbalance in your solar plexus as well, is the main shadow here that you guys need to like uncover and kind of work on a little bit. And don't feel bad about it, because I definitely have that shadow as well. It can be hard sometimes to be okay with the ignorance that you find in people sometimes, but I think that's something that you guys need to work on and make sure you're not leading people or guiding people astray. You want to make sure that you're coming from a place of love with every act and every deed that you do, every bit of guidance that you give people. Make sure it's coming from a place of really caring for them and caring for their emotions and what they're going through too. And then it says clear your space, get rid of clutter, clear the energy around you, and use feng shui. So I always think that like your space is a reflection of your mind. So a cluttered space kind of reflects back like a cluttered mind. So for me personally, I know if my space is all cluttered and piles of stuff are everywhere, that means that there's something going on in my head where like I'm clearly avoiding something, I'm clearly overlooking something, and I'm just choosing to leave things the way they are for a reason. I'm neglecting something in my life. So that could be what's going on with you guys as well. It's like you don't want to feel something, so you're shutting off your heart, you're shutting off your emotions, and you're choosing to just feel this pride because you don't want to admit that maybe in some cases you could have been wrong in certain situations, and it's hard for you to admit those sort of things. But that's important to really look at yourself in the mirror and, look at your surroundings and see, okay, like, what is this telling me about myself? And then, with the priest, that tells me you guys are really gifted and you have this special talent and you can help a lot of people. And just try to channel the light attribute of that, which is facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. So, yeah, just try and exercise non-judgment. Be that channel of energy that people need you to be. And don't overlook people's struggles or neglect other people's struggles, because not everyone has the same emotional capacity, or the same intellectual or even intuition that you guys have. So just be what they need at the space that they're in, because they're not on your level, but that comes with a lot of time, and they may not even be on that spiritual level in this lifetime, but you have to be okay with that because everybody is on their different paths. So accepting that is a huge part in growing spiritually. And then lastly, we have Pride 7. So you guys might be like a life path 7, which I can feel, because 7 is usually like a teacher or a spiritual teacher or a guide in some sort, and I feel that with this pile, you guys also have another 7 here for Chariot. So yeah, I think you guys are kind of just dealing with karma at the moment, and it's going to balance itself out. But definitely just take a look at your shadow, and I think that's going to help you guys a lot. Doing some journaling and, seeing where maybe you've kind of cut off your emotions or your heart towards people, and realizing where in a lot of cases you might have been wrong. That's going to help you a lot with this shadow aspect of Pride. Okay, that's all I have for you, pile 3. If it resonated, please subscribe, leave me a like or comment, and I'll see you in a future reading. Thanks. Bye.